What would you do if you were in charge of a $1 billion organization and you had to improve or you'd lose your job? Welcome to Mandem on Fandom, and today I wanted to talk about the position of the head coach of Manchester United Football Club. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the head coach of an institution, a mammoth institution that has a global reach, and he is under pressure from the inside and from the outside to be perfect at all times. It is not realistic, but that's the job that comes with the territory. Now, the reality of the situation is, for those people who want him out, he's going to be here until 2022 at the latest. He's going to be here for at least another year. So with the current setup, with the level of investment as it is, with the squad that he's got, with everything in place, the question I wanted to answer is, how does he fix the problems? Because a lot of people out there are so quick to talk about the problems and the problems and the problems of Man United, and people will be like, oh no, the Glazers and the board and the players and the... Okay, we are sick to death of hearing about the problems. What are the solutions? And I think I have practical solutions for the current head coach, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that he can implement to improve the team. Okay, there are things which he can do within his power to get the team moving in the right direction. There are things above his pay grade that he will not be able to control. Things like the budget, things like who's bought or sold, apparently, because the Glazers are in control of that. And the general incompetence of Woodward, Judge, and the Glazers. Those things, out of his control. Those three things, throw them over there. They're totally out of his control. The question becomes, what can he do? And I will give you a very brief list of the things that he can and should do if he's going to improve the current situation. Number one, he should promote the youth. The caliber of the team is as a result of the resources at the disposal of the technical bench. United's resources have either been withheld from the first team or they've been misused when they have been called upon. United, pound for pound, are the richest football club in the world, organically speaking. I'm not talking about, foreign investment from a country. No. I'm talking about as a commercial entity generating income. They are the richest entity, the richest footballing entity. No doubt. When it comes to organically created cash, the problem is that it's been misused. The people at the top are not footballing people. Okay, they want to go for flashy signings and things like that. So at best, Ole Solskjaer will get one big signing per window, one, as they call it, marquee signing per window, a person that fits the profile of who he wants, who's going to cost a lot of money, because that's just the way the game is going. But if he wants to save his own skin, he needs to focus on promoting the supremely talented young players that we have. He might not be there by the time these players are blossoming, but he would have laid the foundation for the next manager. And I know, above all else, Ole is a fan of the club and he wants us to be successful in the long term. So players like Brandon Williams need to see more of the first team. Players like Joe Hugill, I hope I pronounced his name right. Players like Mengi and Charlie McCann. Those boys are exceptional in their respective positions. We need to be seeing at least 2 of them minimum in and around the first team every season. How else will we know whether or not they're good enough if they don't get a chance? They need to get in there, they need to get a fair shot, and we need to stick with them at least for 2 seasons. Give these boys a chance and they will reward you. It might not be immediate and we might have to suffer along the way, but it's not like we'll have an entire team composed of 16-year-olds. No. The youth will supplement the blockbuster signings because United are being starved of the money they're generating. The club is being starved by its owners. They're not going to go out and get in one season Koulibaly, Grealish and Sancho. Forget about it. It's not FIFA. It's not going to happen. So, number 1, rely on the youth. Promote them as often as you can, as quickly as you can, and see whether they're good enough. Number 2, he needs to learn how to manage upwards. And by that, I mean, Ole needs to learn how to manage the people upstairs. The Matt Judge, the Woodwards, the Glazers, or whatever these other guys there. He needs to learn how to control them as much as he can. He needs to, when he has his sit down at the beginning or at the middle of the end of this or at the end of the season, he needs to say, okay, this is what I need in order for the season to be successful, or this was what I needed and you didn't come through. If I don't get A, B, and C done, then we will not meet our achievements or will not meet our targets on the pitch. On the pitch, on the field, achievements there translate into off the field revenue. That's the one thing the Glazers need to be aware of. So he needs to constantly communicate with them and demand that they give him the very best, because United are the best off the pitch. They need to be the best on the pitch if the commercial side is going to continue to thrive. He needs to emphasize that, and he needs to be strong when he does that. Otherwise, it will be the same old nonsense that we keep seeing season in, season out. Okay? Where you've got chief executives more concerned with Twitter numbers than with progress on the football pitch. It's an absolute nonsense. Okay? So that's the second thing he can do. The third and final thing I think Solskjaer can do, and is probably the hardest, self-improvement. He needs to get rid of the bad habits that he has. No coach is perfect, okay? And Ole has these little habits that are holding him back from being truly elite. I'll give you an example. The whole issue of, minor things like late substitutions. Ole needs to bring on his subs quicker than they are currently being brought on. On average, his subs come through in the last 10 minutes of every game. And by then, it's too late to make an impact, okay? He needs to improve that little aspect. And another example I can give is the fact that he has a set of favorites, He has a set of favorites who may or may not have the requisite quality. I'm talking about players like Lindelof and players like, Fred. They may perform for him every now and then, but the reality is that Solskjaer is in love with certain players, sometimes to the detriment of the team. Okay, we'll never know how good certain players are because they're never given a chance. So Solskjaer needs to break out of these bad habits, and he needs to do it quickly. Okay, so in summary, promote the youth, learn how to manage his superiors because they are clueless about football, and self-improvement. Those are the 3 key areas I feel that he needs to improve if he's going to fix our problems and ultimately guide the team upwards. Thank you for your time. Be sure to bookmark my page on Kwacha Magazine Zambia. I've got lots of articles on European and Zambian football there. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Peace.